Hello, everybody, and welcome by the second season of the podcast Follow Your Passion. And I have a special guest today again. Her name is Michaela Vybohova. Michaela was born and raised in Slovakia, dreaming of being a part of the fashion industry since she was a young girl. She looked up to the designers and watched runway shows constantly, but she couldn't afford anything from that world. At the age of 16, Michaela was discovered by a modeling agent, and soon after, her international modeling career started. She became a sought after supermodel, appearing on the front cover of some of the best known fashion magazines of the world and on the glossy pages of many more. But Michaela is not just beautiful, as you can see when you're watching the video, she's very smart and passionate about fashion. She realized after several years of modeling that she wanted to execute her own creative vision. Through modeling, she learned about the design process from the inside out, and her dream was to create something unique that blends the two worlds of style and quality, all while being affordable. And as famous quote from Marilyn Monroe, give a girl the right shoes and she will conquer the world. She took it by heart, and Michaela V became a reality. So, welcome, Michaela. How have you been since we've last talked?
Thank you so much. I've been great. We've all had challenging year, especially with everything going on that's an economy. I feel like there's certain pressure on all of us to make it through and come out stronger. So
Yeah.
I've been feeling it myself.
Nice. And I especially love your story because, um, like I said in the introduction, you know, even when you were a young girl, you already was passionate and dreaming about being a part of the fashion industry. And now you've come full circle. You are a part of the fashion industry. How is that for you?
Um, it can be surreal, and I still don't necessarily feel like I'm a part of it. I still feel like a little bit like an outsider.
Mhm.
It's a unique perspective, but when I was little, I saw the fashion industry as something I would describe it like Alice in Wonderland.
Mm.
I imagine like this beautiful world where everybody's happy and beautiful and perfect, and the clothes are pretty. There's so much color and glamour. And when you look through like the pages of magazine and you look at either celebrities or these figures, they look like they they just look like they have perfect lives. To and part of me is still trying to find that, but I think the beauty is in a journey. I
Oh,
don't know
definitely.
yeah, I don't know if I ever will. I think that's quite unrealistic for anyone. But yeah, I think I'm just enjoying the part of the journey, and I feel like I get to know myself and my own process every day more.
Nice. So, when you started out as being a model, you were very young, you were only 16.
Yeah.
How was that for you? Because you were still a teenager, you weren't an adult, but you came into this adult world. I can imagine it was very overwhelming at the beginning, or
It was. I think I had this conversation recently, and so, my friends, they asked me, it's like, how was it? Back then when you were a teenager, like thrown into this new world, and I was like, it was the most fascinating thing. And part of me that has changed and I'm trying to find back, was that I was absolutely fearless. I felt like there's nothing that can ever go wrong.
Mhm.
Um, because I just saw an opportunity and I was like, oh, everything is amazing. And I think what has changed for me back then, I had no sense of any form of responsibility. It was like, oh, there's nothing can go wrong. I don't have to pay rent. I don't have to do any of these things. I'm on adventure.
Mhm. Wow. And during your modeling career, did this internal flame of becoming part of the fashion industry still existed, or get it re-enlightened again by your after a few years?
It get reignited. And it happened maybe in like last year and a half. Because we all like part of our journey of like growing up, like as our careers keep growing and we're trying to move forward, we all get smacked with such obstacles and we all get spanking. And it happens to me more than once.
Mhm.
But I felt like an outsider, and there's absolutely have been times that I felt like I'll never make it. And then I think having the self-awareness of that and know like, okay, there's a way out of this maze. I think that that will always reignite the spark inside of you.
Yeah. Um, it just came to my mind. Are you familiar with the game Tetris?
Yes.
Yeah, I've got
Very.
this T-shirt, and it says Tetris taught me that if you try to fit in, you'll disappear. Right? So I love that you say that you feel like an outsider because everybody is unique, everybody is special, and you're special as well. So when you're feeling like an outsider, in my opinion, it's a good thing because it means you're not blending in, you're staying authentic to yourself so that people will feel attracted for that and not being like the next Nike or the next Adidas or the next etc. You know, you're unique, so you should definitely keep that.
Oh, thank you. I'll remember that. Well, I think of Tetris every time I'm packing my suitcase. Like, okay, this goes
Nice.
here, there. But I have a new meaning for that. So thank you.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. So, I guess when you're in the modeling world and you're walking runways, you have to dress the clothes and also the shoes of the designers. They don't always look very comfortable. Yet you have to learn to walk it, you know, and to wear it. Was it also part of the inspiration of your Michaela V brand?
Yeah, absolutely. And not necessarily the runway, because what I runway is the entire show. You walk up and down. It's 3, 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like the act of actually walking out. Of course, there's the getting ready part, the rehearsals and fittings, but the actual act is 3, 4 minutes. And I always remember there's no matter what I wore, especially on runways, if my shoes were they're not always my size. I always told myself like there's nothing you cannot do for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
But when it came to shoots and I had to wear uncomfortable shoes for 8 hours, that's a different story.
That's a totally different story. Yeah. I can imagine that. Yeah.
Yeah, so many times I came home with blisters and bloody feet and so many things like that. And yeah, that was definitely part of it that I thought it was like, okay, I there was definitely part of the reason what inspired me to change things around,
Yeah.
or at
And
least do my best to.
now that you just mentioned it, you know, about blisters and bleeding feet and stuff like that, modeling is actually quite hard work, right? It's not people only see this beautiful faces and makeups and models on the front covers, you know, in those glossy magazines, but to sell yourself actually to another agency, you know, to use you for the as a model and going from left to right and back again and wearing those uncomfortable shoes for like you said for 8 hours. It's actually hard work, I guess.
It's incredibly hard work. And now to me, when people say, I was like, oh, how hard is it like being on a shoot and taking pictures? No, that's the easiest part. Actually getting in that studio, that's the hardest part.
Yeah, I can
Uh,
imagine that.
because I think that one thing I think I would tell to girls that are like trying to get into this industry and trying to make it, like one thing that is today like incredibly hard for me to cope with was the insecurity, because I have this conversation. I actually had it last night. I was having drinks with a friend and it was like, oh, but you get to go to LA for winter now. Like you have that option to escape. And I'm like, but you have health insurance. Pick or choose.
Yeah,
It was like, oh, and oh my God, you get paid vacation. That's nice. Oh, you know how much you're making next month? That's lovely. So
yeah,
to me, like those are the conversations we have. was like, oh, dental plan. Ooh, what's that like?
Yeah, it's funny. It also reminds me of a lot of young girls. Either what they want to be a supermodel or at least a model, or they want to become flight attendants. Because it's also you're flying all over the world. Seeing all kinds of countries, and most flight attendants don't get any further than just the airport, right? And it's hard
Yeah.
work as well.
Yeah, it's incredibly hard. And it's same, like I've been to countries that I've been somewhere for a day, and similar, like also conversation, have you ever been to Barcelona? And I'm like, yes, for a day. I was like, how was it? I'm like, I have no idea. I went to the airport, went to studio, and went back. But I'm still incredibly grateful for it.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's what how people interpret the career, right? And if you weren't discovered, you wouldn't have had your own shoe brand, right? Probably.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think life is about just knowing how to work with the cards you're dealt with and taking on the opportunities that are handed to you and decided if you want to take it or not. We are all responsible for our own outcomes. So it's not that I just like to have like the answer when friends like, oh, like your job is so great, like must be amazing. And I'm like, oh, I would love to have a dental plan, what that's like. Like I would love to know what I'm doing tomorrow and when I leave. That sounds great.
Yeah, yeah. So how do you like entrepreneurship?
I do, and it's actually quite funny because I wanted to be entrepreneur because I wanted the need that I want to be in control of something.
Hmm.
Because also one part about modeling that a lot of people don't see, that if you work pretty much any other like corporate job or anyway, there's a certain like corporate ladder that you can climb. Like you work harder, you get promoted,
Hmm.
you have good presentations, you get bonuses, you get paid more. And modeling, pretty much almost nothing is in your hands. You can just sit there and hope for the best.
Yeah, I
There's
guess
no
you're
complete
as
you.
good as your last photo shoot.
Yeah, pretty much. And trying to like network, it doesn't necessarily work in this industry. It's in the hands of your agents. There's nothing more or nothing less you can do. Um, so for me, like being an entrepreneur is I wanted to know that if I don't make it, it's only my fault. And I
Mm.
found a sense of peace in that. It's
Yeah,
like, oh,
I
if I
totally
mess
get
up.
what you're saying. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's the only certainty you have about the entrepreneurship that everything is uncertain. You never know how it goes. You have to work your ass off, so to speak. But
Yeah,
it's very fulfilling the moment you get some success, you get some momentum, and you see that it when it starts paying off, and that's the beauty of it. And it's what you said. It's you can have this great ambitious goal, and you might never achieve that great ambitious goal, but as long as you're enjoying the journey, it's wonderful.
yeah. And I also love to also with entrepreneurship, knowing that even if I set myself unrealistic goal, and even if I don't make it, I'm the only one to blame.
Exactly.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay.
Yeah. Well, what one of my coaches once said that I loved a lot as well. Set goals so high that you're unable to achieve them until you become the person that can.
I like that.
And I loved it because it's not about getting this goal. It's about transforming yourself into the person that will achieve that goal. And it's a totally different approach. And that's more in your own um, responsibility zone as well. You're the only one that can change yourself. So
I absolutely agree.
yeah. So um, what was your main um, inspiration to start shoes? Because you could have chosen anything in the fashion industry. You could have chosen clothes or earrings or whatever. What made you choose shoes?
Shoes to me, uh, to me, when a girl, like, no matter like how simple her clothing is, it can be jeans and t-shirt, but the shoes will change everything.
Mm.
If it's jeans and a white t-shirt, if you put heels on, it's a whole different attire all of a sudden. And that's something, especially shoes, like they can give a girl so much confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that to me completely was like, okay, that inspired me. I was like, this is so interesting. Like, so little can change so much just in someone's demeanor.
Yeah, and
That
the way you describe it, I already visualized it, and I saw a lady in a white t-shirt and the jeans and putting heels on, and indeed it's a totally different story. And
yeah.
those stereotype women that are having a career, and they come home and the first thing they do is they take out the shoes and then they sign for, oh, glad I took those out. Is your intention that when those women come home, they keep the shoes on because they're so comfortable?
No. No, uh I can do my best, but I'm not a magician.
No, of course not.
Yeah, I think I also make slippers. I think it's whatever my customer is comfortable in. To me, it's all about comfort.
Mm.
Or to me, like when you have the description and you have like your significant other at home and you come home in like your little blazer from a day at work and maybe you just decide to keep the shoes on. Maybe those are the only things you keep on. I'm okay with that. There's a lot of different scenarios. It's up to each person's imagination and whatever rocks your boat. So if you wanna come home, get into sweatpants, something I do. All depends on the night.
Yeah. As I understand it correctly, you're not working on your own. You have several partners around you that help you to create the brand and the shoes and stuff like that. So what's your role within Michaela
Um,
V?
I'm actually a one-man show. It was all of my ideas. I bootstrapped the entire company.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have partners. I was right now, like I have employees that I only have two that are full-time, and then we have a lot of part-time people as we are growing the company. And yeah.
Nice. And are you so of course you're involved with design, but what's your main role? Is it design or is it also creating partnerships with different stores or selling or all
uh
of the above?
all of the above. I'm from the designer to creative director to the janitor to the CEO.
Nice. And where lies your heart? Let's say that you could delegate all tasks, and there was one task that you want to keep doing for yourself, that you love so much that you will never delegate it or outsource it. What would it be?
Creative direction.
Creative direction.
I love the anything from aspect of the design, but I also love coming up with the stories, the photo shoots, the mood boards, and I'm very clear on the message that we want to put out. Like I can imagine campaigns and organizing and booking other models or other people that I want to be involved and the partnerships I want to create. So creative direction, oh my God, if I could only solely focus on that, which I'm hoping I will be able to one day. That would be my dream.
Well, you were already dreaming as a young girl, as being a part of the fashion industry. You're still young, so I'll bet that day will come as well.
It's very sweet. Thank you.
So, how was it to create your first shoe?
Exciting and frightening.
Yeah.
I it was it was I don't want to say it was bittersweet, but it was definitely sweet, and I was so excited, but I also was frightened. I suffered a little bit of it with imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, why should people like is anybody gonna like this? I have no idea. And I was really scared. I was like, why would people buy shoes from me? Because I know what I'm doing. Do I know what I'm doing? I hope so. I'm learning. I did I miss anything? Is there any mistakes? I hope not. But that's kind of how I launched.
Wow. And how did it launch?
um, just set up a website and that's it.
Yeah, but I mean, what was the feedback you got from your first design?
Uh, I mean, all of my friends were incredibly supportive. So that was nice. They started reposting it for me across Instagram, Facebook, and all of that. And like the first month of sales was okay, and then it went completely dead.
Hmm.
And then I was like, okay, now what? And eventually, after like a death period, it like started going up again, up until it went down again and then up again. And I don't want to, I feel like a lot of people like tell this story like when they start their businesses, oh, I launched and it took off. No, it did not. And I'm
Yeah.
sure for some people did, and I'm more power to you. Please tell me how the heck did you do that? Because it was not my story.
Yeah. I guess your story. A lot of entrepreneurs listening to this will recognize it. Um, but it's one of my other coaches also said that a winner is just a loser who tried it one more time, right? And as long as you keep the dream alive and you see some progression, it motivates you to keep going on, even though you get some setbacks and dead end streets you go into. At least you know that that's not the right way to go, and you change your direction, right? Until you get the momentum that you're looking for.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Motivates me.
Yeah, exactly. So, do you have any success story that you could share on the air?
Any success story?
Yeah, maybe some amazing feedback you got from a customer, or something you thought, let's see how this goes, and it did indeed took off like crazy.
I think like to me, like the success story is every single order I get. I'm just as excited every single time. Like like if I get a dinner, like I get one order, it's like, ooh, I get so
Yeah.
excited. I think uh to me, like I also get a question like what was like your groundbreaking moment that it was like this is how when you knew you made it. And I'm like, I don't think I've had it. I think it's just like series of like 10 or hundreds. It's every single one of those. Every single one of like it doesn't matter to me if it's like a single order or I get like a contract with somebody. It's the same thing to me because it contributes. It contributes to my overall goals. So each one of them has the same value to me. Oh, sorry. I'm not hearing you for a second.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Yeah, there I'm back again. It's beautiful that you put it like that, and I think that's true. That when I'm coaching somebody or I'm doing a hypnotherapy session, every client, when I see them transform and get the progression they're looking for, it's success to me, right? And I want every new client to be my next success story. And I guess it's with you as well, that every order you get is a confirmation that you're selling something that it's fulfilling a need for somebody, and that's why they buy it. And there are a lot of success stories, and they're building and building, and that's what keeps us going, I guess.
yeah, I agree. I think it just became I'm trying to become neutral in a sense because if I was like constantly on the lookout for the next success story, and because there's a lot of like things that go wrong,
Hmm.
and that I would like if I react equally to that, then would be so hard. So hard to make. Yeah, I think like I also read like trying to read book is incredibly hard to read. It's not necessarily engaging, but as Marcus Aurelius's meditations. So I'm learning how to be a little more stoic and don't get so thrown off, kind of like stay in the middle, be very aware, but don't get either thrown off by either the very good or very bad. Just stay on my course.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. And that's beautiful. So, um, is there because you already said it, your brand contains all kinds of footwear, from high heels to slippers and a lot in between. Is there certain um model that you love the most? So some women are really high on high heels, other ones like boots more, or any sportive aspirations for sport shoes, or
I think it just depends on a day.
mm.
It to me is like my perfume. It's no matter what I feel on a day. Like depends if today I'm in a sweater and a hoodie, but yeah, I think I have a dinner later and we'll see how I feel, what I feel in a moment. The weather is kind of bad. Maybe I stay in sneakers, maybe I dress it up.
Nice. And you're still located in the USA, right? When I'm correct.
Yes.
How is that for you, being an outsider, so to speak, from Slovakia, from Europe?
Um, I think like I've got so used to it and I'm very grateful to live in the States. It provided me so much opportunity and I think like of course I miss Slovakia and I miss my home, but I left it for a reason. I just left it to find the opportunity and left it for a place where I found maybe more open doors, where
Mm.
I could where I could strive. And will I come back one day? Maybe when I'm retired. But as of now, I think New York is a home for me at the moment, but never say never.
Yeah, of course. Nice. So, um, are you selling your shoes nationally or also internationally, or do you have any idea where your shoes are going?
Yeah, I have worldwide shipping and I've been looking into opening a warehouse in Europe because I do ship worldwide, but it gets more difficult
Hmm.
with customs, and I feel horrible if my customers like get charged like custom tax, and I'm like, hey, I feel horrible.
Yeah.
Um, but I always make sure like they're aware if this happens.
Nice. Nice. So I won't ask for your international business because you're already shipping internationally.
I'm genuinely hoping to make it broader in the future.
Nice. So are your clients buying directly with you, or do you also have some partnerships with some bigger online shops, or
I do have partnerships. I'm on Verishop is one of them. Then we are on ModeSense. We have a couple others, but everything goes through me anyway. I see every single one of them.
Mhm. Nice. Well, of course, because you want to be in control, right?
I try.
Nice. So, if you would look, if you could look like 5 years in the future, where do you see Michaela V will be?
Just bigger and better.
Nice.
That is my only goal.
And will you be the face of the company?
Only time will tell. I can tell you I'll be the creative director.
Of course. We already talked about it. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
So, um, I would like to. You're very inspirational, and it's not every day that I'm talking to a supermodel that also has brains and has become an entrepreneur. It's um, I think it shows a lot of um, determination, perseverance to succeed as an entrepreneur. Would you say that your modeling career has contributed to that?
Yes. In a sense that it built me such thick skin. And I've got like it definitely prepares you for the role of being an entrepreneur, because you have to deal with rejection on a daily basis to the point that it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's nothing new to me, because that's pretty much that's a lot of what I've known in this career. And I think I've heard it all. When I get like turned down from jobs on like, oh, it's because, now people have filter. Back when I was starting out, people did not have as much filter, and I would tell you. It was like, oh yeah, well, you're not what we're looking for. We're looking for somebody smaller, taller, blonder, whatnot. Like, okay. And yeah, now it seems something quite normal if I reach out to a shop and they never get back to me. If I pitch to either news publication or somebody, they never get back to me. It doesn't affect me anymore. I think that's how modeling career prepared me for this one.
Yeah, I can imagine how that works. And it's true, especially when you're beginning, you want every sales conversation or whatever you have, you want to be a success, because especially when you're starting out, you might need the money, and you're dependent on it. And at a certain moment, you reach a level that, okay, well, if it's not for you, then it's not for you. That I'm fine with it. It's your loss, not mine. And that's
I I wouldn't necessarily say I'm at a place I'm not dependent on it anymore. But what I've learned that it was like, okay, there's always somebody else.
yeah, indeed, yeah.
Yeah, there's always somebody else. And usually even a lot of times from my experience, also the people that said no, they usually came back like after a certain time, and after something happened, there has been either agencies that are like told me no for years. And like then I get pitched again, then I get pitched again. And like one particular one, like after like 5 years, reached out to me and I turned them down. It was like, oh, I'm sorry, like I've already signed.
Mhm.
But it was like, wow, things come full circle.
Yeah, wonderful. So, Michaela, if you could give our audience a little tip or little piece of wisdom about following your passion or become an entrepreneur, what would it be?
Oh, I'm gonna touch just on this conversation that we had. I think that how to deal with rejection, because a lot of anytime you hear no, I always add to it now. It means not now. And that helps a lot, because things genuinely come full circle. And as you said, it's all about timing. And sometimes timing just doesn't work out. So no matter who tells you no, most of the time it just means not now.
Exactly. Or they don't know enough to say yes.
Yeah, you never know. Sometimes persistence is key, and it doesn't mean being every day, but always just if you keep working on yourself and keep progressing, there's other opportunities that open, and also the missed opportunities become open again.
Yeah, wonderful. Great piece of advice, Michaela. So, if people want to know more about your shoe brand, where can they find you? Where can they connect with you?
So it's on my website at michaelav.com. Um, that is also my personal Instagram, and my brand's Instagram is by Michaela V.
Wow, that
I'm
shouldn't be
all
so
there.
hard to find, right?
I hope so. I try to make it as easy as possible.
Yeah. Um, well, Michaela, I want to thank you a lot for this wonderful conversation, being so open and honest about your struggles and things you've overwon. And it's great to see that it's like you said, it's not that once you have a name and you start something new, it will take off. It will go with ups and downs, and it's just life of an entrepreneur, I would say.
Yeah, I think it's everybody's life.
Yeah,
Nothing's
exactly.
ever,
Right. So
it
thank you
always
again for this
is.
wonderful conversation, Michaela. I wish you all the best, of course, with your shoe brand. Let's keep in touch, and thanks again.